I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
I'm not even supposed to be here today! Oh, fuck you!
Come on, you want me to drive? You're supposed to be suicidal. Remember, I'll
Anybody
drive.
a drive?
Get in the car.
Fuck me in the ass. Fuck you, you fucking stupid cunt.
Hey everyone, it's Don G. Corleone here, and I am here with a topic video, and it's going to be for a Simpsons episode. And this topic video is going to be for an episode called Beyond Blunderdome, where the guest star of that episode was Mel Gibson voicing a fictional version of himself. And yeah, and I'm going to talk about why I actually do this is not one of the more well-known episodes, but I think this episode is underrated, and I thought this episode was funny. And it's actually one of my favorite episodes of the series. So yeah, after I did that whole episode comparison for SpongeBob, I thought I'd do an episode for this and talk about why I think it's underrated. And why I think it's actually one of the best episodes of the series. So, yeah, basically, as you know, obviously the title is a parody of the Mad Max film, the third Mad Max film, Beyond Thunderdome. Except now it's called Beyond Blunderdome. And obviously our guest star is Mel Gibson playing a fictional version of himself that sees that Homer doesn't like his newest film, and so he tries going to him for how to make it better, but obviously Homer doesn't have an idea what he's doing, and what he thinks is better is going to end up turning out bad, and yeah, so basically, what I do like about this episode is that I like that the episode is set in Hollywood, and it shows various film references, and you see references to the old Batman series, or you even see a reference to several Mel Gibson stuff, like the Mad Max car, or even Lethal Weapon mentions, and which are all films I love. Stuff, and of course, and there's times when I'm kind of with Homer. Homer is kind of right about, it's kind of foreshadowed how films have kind of turned out today. This episode kind of foreshadowed how some films have gotten pretentious nowadays, and there's some pretty quotable stuff I like about this episode. So, how does this episode begin? So, basically this episode begins with Homer watching this car ad about air and how they should purchase an environment-friendly car and they'll get a free gift. And Homer then gets this idea to do this because he wants a free gift, or he's like, my children deserve to see me get a free gift. I like that. So they go to purchase the car, and Lee says, telling Homer, thanks for purchasing it. It shows you care about the environment. No, I'm only going to get the... Wait, you're faking this for the free gift, aren't you? Of course. So they get the car, and you do get this kind of not really necessary joke from Bart. I'm ready to say bye to gas, and he burps, but then Marge's like, Bart, and then he farts. Oh, that shut me up. Okay, that's one part of the episode I just really don't like. I did not need that joke. That wasn't funny, I'll admit that. But yeah, Homer picks up the car, but Homer is too distracted, and so he ends up accidentally driving him to the harbor. It's well, at least it's water-friendly, but then they see jellyfish, and then they have to return the car. It's the car didn't work out for me, but can I have the free gift now? And so he gets the free gift, but just as they leave, though, they sneak away before she can find the damage they did to the car, and within a few days, Marge's hey, we forgot to open up that envelope that was our free gift. Oh, yeah. And then so Homer opens up oh, man, it's just a bunch of movie tickets. But then it turns out they're actually tickets to this advanced screening of, obviously, a movie that does not exist in our world, but it's just in the Simpsons world, that is. And it was this new remake that Mel Gibson himself did called Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, who... around the time that it came out, he was named Sexiest Man Alive, and when Marge is excited to hear of this announcement, it's who else in it? Oh, who cares? Mel Gibson. and lists all the great things about him. And so they're at the test screening, and it's produced by the studio called Polygon Pictures, and the host is like, the executives are presenting the film, and they're like, well, we're about to screen you the film, and then we'll give you these title cards after the film that you can write down, and if whatever you think should be better in the film, we'll improve it. So they screen the film, and everyone else is liking it except for Homer, who's bored. Obviously, because Homer doesn't know much about films and hasn't really seen a lot of films, so he's not having a blast, and he's bored at the whole ending. And so what the audience doesn't know is that Mel Gibson seems like he's not there, but he actually is attending in secret, and he's asking the two other CEOs of the studio what they thought of the movie, but they haven't watched it yet, and it's like starting to wonder, maybe, I don't know about making this movie, man. All I do is talk. I don't shoot a lot of people, and now, when it comes to Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, may Jimmy Stewart rest in peace, and definitely was a talented actor who I loved him in It's a Wonderful Life, and I also did like his voice acting in Final Goes West. I thought that was a great way for him to go out on, and may he rest in peace. But I've not seen the original Smith Goes to Washington, but I have heard of it. I have read it on Wikipedia, and apparently, like what we're seeing in the Simpsons episode, that is how the original in the way kind of goes, and how it does end. But yeah, then after the film, the Springfield residents all like it. Except for Homer is the only one who did not, and that was boring. He didn't shoot anybody. All he did was yap for 2 hours, and of course, Mel ends up accidentally blowing his cover when he tries to exit out this door. That's actually the fire alarm emergency exit, and that triggers the fire alarm sound. And then of course they see Mel actually there, and he's allowing them to tell what they thought about the movie, and he makes this like comment towards Marge that angers Homer. He's like, "That's it. I'm gonna tell Mr. Gray's guy alive what I thought about his movie. Here, you have a pen. Do you have a pencil? Here, write down what you think of it." And then, of course, after that, like when Mel and the executives are on their way home, he's reading for the title card. He's reading for all the cards what people in Springfield thought about the film. And then, of course, like he's like, everybody could have loved it, but of course, like he's reading, like he's surprised apparently everybody loves the film. And then he gets to Homer's card, and your film was more boring than church. Oh, you find out how Mel got to Springfield is that he actually had John Travolta pay for his plane ticket, and yeah, like that's how he got to Springfield. Like he had made this guise that he was at this charity benefits in Hollywood, and of course, but the Polygon CEO's like, ignore this guy, he's clearly not. And like, no, I knew I was missing something. Fly me back to Springfield right now. And so he flies back to Springfield. He goes to the Simpsons house, and at first, like Bart wants like Homer to fight Mel Gibson, likely just to see Mel Gibson kick his ass. And but of course, like he's there to tell that he needs Homer's help to fix the film. And so he agrees to that. And so the Simpsons actually go to Hollywood, and they see a lot of Hollywood. And you actually do get some great Hollywood throwbacks where they're driving through Hollywood, and of course, Mark, and they're observing this, like, some of these films being shot, and you get this, like, funny bit, like, where, they're shooting a movie where Robert Downey Jr. is shooting a bunch of police officers. And you see this fictional Robert Downey Jr. that's actually on set shooting some police officers on set for this new film that they're filming, and of course, so then Homer and Mel have Mel's fictional self. They have to get to work, and so Homer sends his family to tour around Hollywood, and Bart wants to stay, but Homer tells him no. So they get to work, and you get this really funny bit where Homer's coming up with some of these stupidest ideas. Like, it starts to show how inexperienced Homer is as a director already. Like, even Marge warned Mel that Homer didn't know a thing about making movies, and it's kind of starting to show because he's suggesting either the opening scene be sped up, or put in a musical, but Mel's like, no, or you need to have a musical montage, you're all wearing funny hats. No. that definitely was the funniest bit right there. And in a way, like, now that I think about it, like, I have to consider this the episode that foreshadowed audience reactions to Joker Fully Dukes, because that was a shitty sequel that turned out to be a musical, and like knowing that bit with the musical montage, when Homer mentions that musical montage they should put in the film, and like that's clear that was probably how Todd Phillips came up with the idea of making Joker 2 a musical film in a way, because I didn't get to see some of the family touring Hollywood where apparently they're visiting a house owned by the dog from Frasier, or they're seeing Ellen DeGeneres and his other co-stars living together, and the two fictional stars like, we're lesbians. Of course, like, heck, you even get one bit where they're visiting this auto museum and they come across this Batmobile, like, these dummies look real, but it turns out they're actually actors having to play as dummies and sit in the Batmobile. Like, it's obviously like the Batmobile from the Adam West series. Like, yeah, you even get some nice little cool but throwback cars, and so eventually, like, there's more Homer's coming up with more stupid ideas. And eventually his latest one that Mel's confused by the most is, wait, you want to replace the villain with a dog? Yeah, but they won't get it. Yeah, they will. They'll know the dog is evil by having to go and, like, shifty eyes, and they'll just know he's up to something evil. And Mel's like, maybe this wasn't such a good idea. I'm going to pay for your tour, for your trip back home. Oh, but then Homer gets to the very last scene. It's like, oh, wait a minute. Here's your problem. You don't shoot anybody, you just talk, but that was Jimmy Stewart's favorite scene. Well, yeah, that was fine for and Homer's like, that was fine for the 30s, because back then people were fine with just talking, but now people want action, and seats with drink holders, but mostly action. So he decides to come up with this ending where Mr. Smith actually shoots everybody, and I was like, okay, we'll reshoot the ending, we'll call in the makeup people, and yeah, so they reshoot the ending, and then within a night, and then the very next scene, they're presenting it to the three CEOs you saw at the beginning of the episode, and that's obviously the ending. Obviously, the ending's going out normal at first, and that is until Mr. Smith passes out, and the people at the White House are all laughing about it, but this makes Mr. Smith mad, so he throws the flag for the United States Senator, impaling him with it, and then, of course, Homer throws him his gun, and they do this winking chart as they're also winking at each other as they're watching the test ending. And so, all those in favor, say die. And then Mel does these monkey sounds, like, maybe that's one part of the fixed ending that probably could be done without, like, just say die and then just start shooting everybody, but he starts, like, shooting up everybody, like, around the entire warehouse, and, like, it has this kind of cool little Scarface, like, throwback to how the ending of Scarface went. Like, when Al Pacino shot up everybody and then got shot down himself, and of course, like, he blows up the White House, and then the president comes in, I demand to know what's going on, and he decapitates the president by throwing the whole White House symbol at him, and it cuts off the president's head. And then, of course, he picks up the president's head. Happy birthday, Mr. President. And the kids, you see kids applauding him, and then a dead hand has this coin that says U.S. Senate, and it goes like this, and it shows the end, and Mel tells him, what do you think? But now, honestly, if this version of the movie had existed, if Mel actually directed a remake of this, and this is actually how he did the ending in real life, I'm going to be honest, I probably would have paid to go see that. I would have probably went to see it, and I probably would have loved that end. I probably would have honestly loved the ending. Now, I'm not trying to disrespect the original film, but I would have, this ending honestly would have been kind of epic. This ending would have been kind of pretty cool. I probably would have been one of the few that actually liked that ending. Like, just, it would have had that, it kind of would have had that cool little Scarface like feel to it. But of course, like, knowing it's a Simpsons episode and nothing ever goes Homer's way, like, you know it's not going to end well, because the three CEOs, they're upset with the ending, and they're just horrified by it. Like, you chopped off the president's head. You killed the U.S. Senator with the flag. Why did Mr. Smith kill everybody? And Homer's like, it's simple. He was mad. Like, I absolutely love Homer in this episode. I actually like Homer and Mel's chemistry in this episode, and, like, of course, like, when he finally, of course, like, when it almost turns out, like, he's starting to realize Homer's not experienced, but then, of course, the ending part is when he actually agrees to change the ending, and in a way, like, it seems like Mel does kind of like this ending, too. hid away like for a while though. But and of course then, okay, what else can I think of? But this is gonna be the studio's prestige picture. Like they listing these two certain movies, like and it was like, oh, those movies suck. I only saw them because March wanted to. But we already bought 5 Golden Globe Awards, and Mel's like, I don't make movies for awards, especially now that they have 2 Oscars. Like, he holds up the Oscars that he got from when he did Braveheart, because that movie got him his 2 Oscars, like Best Picture, Best Director. I make movies for guys like him, and yeah, I wish a lot of stars would have an attitude like that, where they made certain movies for fans, like like certain movies for people that love action. Like, I love that line right there, where he actually makes films for enjoyment. Like, and honestly, I'm kind of with him on that. Screw the Oscars. Like, the Oscars today are a fucking joke. Like, who gives a shit about awards anymore now? Like, and I'm with that too. I like movies for entertainment. Like, I love a lot of non-action masterpieces. Don't get me wrong. Like, I love films like The Shawshank Redemption. I love films like Braveheart, which Mel directed himself, and I like films like The Green Mile. I like films like The Wrestler. I mean, I like The Godfather. That's my favorite movie of all time, and that was more of a talking movie, with not more of a non-action drama kind of film. Like, there's still some action in it, but like I like a lot of critically acclaimed stuff. Hell, I like Gladiator. This stuff, like I like a lot of pretty non-action films. Don't get me wrong too, and because drama films back when this episode premiered, like there were drama films that were not pretentious, and back when they were well written, and back when you could engage with them. Like those were films you actually can engage with, and you can actually connect to the characters. That's because I'm with that. Like, films are supposed to be kind of escapism in a way. Like, there's times when the Oscars do give awards that actually is deserved, but nowadays they give it to stuff like Barbie, or they nominate stupid shit like Emilio Perez for some weird fucking reason. So yeah, like the Oscars are a fucking joke now. Nobody cares about the Oscars anymore. So honestly, like that line is so like Mel's line, like I'll make movies for awards, and that's kind of relevant now. Like, if I was the director, I would not give a shit about awards. I'd give a shit about making films for escapism. But back to the episode though. The CEO like tells him, who even already wait, executive producer? We'll talk later. Then of course the CEO says this line, you desecrated a classic film, this is worse than Godfather 3. And I'm like, what, really? Godfather, really? Like, now, The Simpsons is known for shitting on the Godfather 3 a lot of times, because the thing is that while I'm one of the few rare people that was happy with the Godfather 3, liked the Godfather 3, just about every other person that liked the first film and part 2, all of them did not. And back then it was hated. When this episode came out, it was back when that movie was actually hated by everybody. Like, it gets called one of the worst sequels of all time a lot of times, but when that part came on, like, sir, I can list a fuck of movies list of part 3's worse than The Godfather 3. There's Alien 3, there's RoboCop 3, there's Karate Kid 3, there's Ninja Turtles 3. Did I say Alien 3? I mean, if I didn't again, I'll just say Alien fucking 3 is way fucking worse than Godfather 3. Like, there's the Beverly Hills Cop 3 also. There's a list of third entries that are worse than the Godfather 3. Lots of them. And like, Mel's obviously like, whoa, let's not say things we can't take back. Oh, okay, I'm sorry, but this film's not going to see the light of day. And so Mel distracts the CEOs, and he manages to snap the film before it can be burned from their hands. And Mel's like, come on, Homer, we got a movie to premiere. And then the CEO's like, well, we got to get the movie back, or we'll be fired. You hear me? Yeah, you got it, yeah, fired. And so they drive this little trolley cart to escape the executives going after them. And of course, they go over the gate and says, see you, Mel, like, and says bye to the guard, and they crash through this she's having a baby again sign, like, through the whole little birth area part, and like, oh, what were you thinking, mess with executives? And like, hell, like Mel even quotes like Lethal Weapon. I'm getting too old for this. Like, how old are you anyway? Well, I played from 28. I can play from out 28. Excuse me for asking. But so yeah, they're like, we should have known that the trolls executives. Like, come on. And then you go to the auto museum where the family's at, like I talked about, and they meet up with the family again. And they see the Mad Max car from the Road Warrior there, and they see the dummy, and they see the Mad Max dummy in the car, and of course, like but Mel's like starting to give up. Like, come on, Homer, let's just give him the stupid movie. No, wait. And he's like, quote, referencing all the other films like Lethal Weapon inspired me, like that Suicide's funny. That's not what I was going for. I mean, but I never knew there'd be a bomb in the toilet now. And of course, Marge's like, yeah, it's true. He always checks for a bomb now. And of course, after this, like when Mel's like, you really care about movies? Yeah, they're my escapism from work and family. And the family looks at that, but Homer's not too much of a dick about it, and he clarifies, no offense. And so yeah, I like that. I like that Homer at least clarified. That he was not trying to offend his family. Anyway, so at least he like still somewhat does love his family, like at times. But movies being escapism from stuff like work, yeah, movies can be escapism from the sucky parts of real life. I'm with them on that. Like, I also use films to escape the sucky parts of life. Wait, films are kind of my escape from the real world at times, but I don't want to deal with all the crappy parts of real life. So I'm definitely with Homer on that. That's one of the other things I like about this episode. And so Mel decides to continue trying to avoid the executives. And so they drive the Mad Max car on the road, and Mel tells Lisa to take the wheel, but my dad said, I said you. And of course Mel comes up with this idea. He throws this dummy at Mel Gibson, and the executives think, and the CEOs think they killed Mel Gibson, but they see it's a dummy, and so they keep driving, and so Homer comes up with this other idea. And the funniest part of the episode is Homer's idea is to have him and Mel moon their bare asses at the CEOs to drive them away. Of course, and they're like, wait, who is this guy? That guy's Mel Gibson, but I don't know who the other two people are. They think it's two other people, obviously, but it's, yeah, Homer and Mel are mooning their asses at the CEOs, and Mel's like, what's the point of this? It's your Planet Braveheart, where you moon to the enemy until they surrender. No, we fought them in a long, brutal battle, remember? I didn't see the movie, but on the poster, and of course the CEOs then crash into Homer's ass. And of course, like, Homer, you were right, I don't think so. And so his ass is stuck on the hood of the car. But I guess, like, because we don't see the CEOs again after this, obviously they gave up, clearly. And so they clearly gave up and they surrendered. Obviously, they got scared off because they're able to get the movie back to Springfield. And because the next scene, it shows the Aztec Theater, and the movie with the new ending is now premiering, and they're observing the whole opening night screening of the film. And of course, after that, and of course, like, wow, that blood on digital is perfect. Like, I don't know how you're so calm, Mel. Mel, I'm nervous with butterflies in my stomach. And then, of course, by the time the ending is finally finished, the movie's finally over, and Homer's like, all right, time to get ready to meet our public. And everybody is coming out disgusted and angry. Like, Moe's like, well, that was disgusting. Comic book guy, like, originally he tried to get into the advanced screening with his computer, but he got kicked out at the beginning, and now he's at this screening actually with his computer now, and he's typing, worst ending ever. And Ned Flanders is so disgusted, like, I think I'm gonna be sick, and his wife is having to, like, carry him out. And then, of course, like, to cap it all off, and Jimmy Stewart's granddaughter then shows up. I'm Jimmy Stewart's granddaughter, and you'll be hearing from my attorney. And she slaps both of them, furious at them for vandalizing her grandfather's work. And Homer doesn't even want to admit fault. It's like, oh, we should have put in the dog with the shifty eyes. And they throw a drink at Mel. I like how Homer just doesn't want to admit his fault, and he still thinks like maybe the dog would have been better, but it obviously would not have been better either. But and clearly doesn't want to admit that he ruined the film. Like, although once again, I would have been one of the few people that would have liked that ending if it existed. And I wish this remake actually did happen. I wish this did exist. Like, I wish I could be watching this remake over plenty of actually bad films we're getting today. I wish I could watch this remake over all the live action Disney remake garbage, or the Disney Star Wars films we get now, or the Predator 2018s, or the Alien Romuluses, or the Emilia Perez's, or the Joker 2s, or the Crow or even the fucking Bill Skarsgård Crow remake. I wish that movie existed more than that shitty film did. Or like a buck of cash grabs that fuck over franchises today. I wish I could be watching this version, this remake that's in this episode instead of any of those any day. I wish this did exist. But in short, I would have been one of the few people that would have actually liked this ending. I mean, I have not seen the original movie, but I would have honestly had a blast with this ending, to be fair. So, now, Homer's like, I'm sorry, ruined your career, Mel. It's not your fault, Homer. I guess there's just no room for action lovers like us. And when did people stop rooting for the man with the flamethrower? And Mel's like, I blame the internet. And yeah, that foretells the future today. Foretells, how people on the internet get mad over certain, films having anything offensive nowadays, or kind of referencing, cancel culture, foretelling the future of what cancel culture would happen. Yeah, and how annoying that is. And yeah, the internet nowadays, especially the internet today, they get mad over a lot of shit. But then Homer's like, well, we better get ready on our next project. Everybody loves prequels. I don't like prequels. I'm with you on that too, Mel Gibson. I don't like prequels either. The only prequels I can deal with are the Star Wars prequels. And I guess if you consider Godfather Part 2 part prequel because of the scenes with younger Vito played by Robert De Niro, then I guess that could qualify too. It's kind of both a sequel and a prequel in kind of a way. Or how about a Blood Prom Teen Sex Rom? Or how about a Ghost Wins the Lottery? You could be the ghost, or you could be the lottery presenter. And of course, Homer does another future prediction. How about Indiana Jones? Nobody owns the rights to that, and for a while, nobody did own the rights, but then, you remember when Disney bought Lucasfilm, and then Disney owned the rights? They even tried to make a fifth one in 2023, and it fucking bombed and nobody liked it. And that pretty much made it clear that the series needed to never be revived and needed to be left the fuck alone. So I guess Simpsons, in a way, did kind of predict Disney buying Lucasfilm, thus owning Indiana Jones in a way. But back then, nobody did own the rights. Well, Spielberg and George Lucas did own the rights to that. And I suppose if Homer did try to buy the rights from them, I don't think they would let him remotely near. I think if they do end up seeing this remake, they're not going to remotely let him near Indiana Jones. But Mel does not like either of these ideas, and he just chucks Homer out of the limo. But Homer's like, hey Mel, I fell out. And the last shot you see, you remember when Homer suggested the dog with those shifty eyes being the villain, and the dog with the shifty eyes is shown right at the Aztec Theater. And it shows the close-up and a ba-ba-ba-ba with the close-up of his shifty eyes, and the episode ends there. So, yeah. So, well, no, this was a funny and good episode. I liked all the Hollywood references, oh yeah, I've almost forgot to mention, this is other funny bits, this is where Hugh Grant shot 9 lives. Ew, and, Marge's grossed out by that, or how about, oh yeah, The Simpsons' parody character of Arnold Schwarzenegger, Rainn Wolfcastle. They drive, when they're trying to get away from the CEOs, they drive for the set of him shooting a parody of Saving Private Ryan called Saving Irene Ryan, and he's lifting up this old lady, pull me down. No, stop kicking me there. I love all the Hollywood references and the Hollywood parodies in this. And I like all the quotes about movies being escapism and stuff. Yeah. I like the quotes I don't make movies for awards, which I'm with Mel on that one. Though, yeah, he technically does. He has directed a lot of award-winning films, or been in a lot of award-winning films, but I definitely like stars with that kind of, who say things like that. I don't make movies for awards. Even if I acted in movies, I would never care about winning awards. I would care about being in movies for escapism, and actually because it's a passion. That's the kind of filmmaking I would pursue. And plus, because the awards suck now. The words are such a joke. Like there were a lot of great throwbacks to this, and I like all the throwbacks to all Mel's other films or references, like the Lethal Weapon movies, the Mad Max movies, like even Braveheart with him winning the 2 Oscars, and I like the parody ending that they do for the new version that Mel is directing, which is basically the whole plot of the episode. And yeah, and I do like Mel Gibson playing this fictional version of himself. Like, I think he does terrific in this episode. And I did like him and Homer's scenes together. I thought him and Homer actually did have good chemistry for this episode. In a way, where at times he's kind of starting to realize how inexperienced Homer is, and it turns out he is kind of right though. But he's not mad at Homer for screwing with the film, and he admits that like there's no room for violence lovers like them. But then of course Homer kind of blows it because he keeps suggesting more stupid film ideas, and so this causes Mel to throw him out of the limo because, like, yeah, but yeah, this was a good episode. I think it's underrated. I think it's one of the best episodes. Now I want to know in the comments down below what you guys thought about this episode. Whether you like this episode or whether you're just not a fan of this episode. And until then, guys, that will be it for this video. Thank you all for watching. If you like this one and want to see more, don't forget to subscribe to Don G. Corleone.